So hello, I am Mercedes.
Nice
Thank
to meet you.
thank you for agreeing to interview. It's so nice to meet you.
You too.
This series is looking primarily at small Black-owned businesses. Tell me, what makes your product special as compared to all these other spices and seasonings that are out there on the market?
They're all natural. I really strive in all natural and low sodium. So most of my products don't have any salt.
Okay.
I have a few that do, like my lemon peppers. They have salt, but it's still low. It's not. It's enough to have the flavor, all the
Hmm.
flavors mixed together, but they're not salty.
Okay.
I have a lot of people that reach out to me, especially men that
Hmm.
have high blood pressure. Their doctors have told them you need to cut the salt out, and they'll buy from me and use my products, and they're like, this is amazing. And some of them tell me, hey, I have to add salt.
Hmm.
Like, that's how such a small amount it is.
Hmm.
And they're versatile, so you can use them on anything. Even though I have like a Jamaican jerk, or you can use it, you don't just have to use it, for a jerk. We use it grilling, just cooking, baking, however you would like to use it.
Hmm.
So vegetables, I have a lot of vegans and plant-based individuals that be like, hey, even though this says meat seasoning, can I use it? Yes,
Hmm.
you
Hmm.
can use it however you would like.
Right. Yeah, most people who don't really understand how to cook, they don't understand that, you can really combine flavors in all kinds of interesting ways. And I really like cooking. I'm big into natural foods and, home cooked foods, nothing prepackaged, nothing artificial. So, I really love spices. Have you done anything around educating people on like some of the health benefits of some of the spices in your blends?
If someone, like, when I'm out and about doing pop-up shops, I
Mm-hmm.
have people that'll come up to me and they'll ask me, hey, what's this, and this? And like, I have a beetroot powder. Most
Uh-huh.
people use that in their smoothies.
Mm-hmm.
Most people don't know what it is and the benefits of it.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll ask me like, what's this? And then I explain to them what this does. I have a lot of my spices have ginger in
Yeah, love me some ginger.
them.
Hmm.
So, and it's not overpowering, but it's enough, so you can also get that nutrients from that. So
Hmm.
they really appreciate it,
Hmm.
and the fact that I am knowledgeable about it, and I
Hmm.
can answer any questions. Like, they'll ask, some people ask me like, where do they come from?
Hmm.
So, and I'll tell them I believe in supporting other small businesses. So
Hmm.
I'll get my vegetables, because I have a hot sauce as well.
Hmm.
I'll get my vegetables from a black business owner or a small business owner.
Wonderful.
Um, the same as my spices. I'd rather go to a smaller store or a smaller market to get them than a bigger one.
Hmm. Hmm. So that's really good because you're reaching out to the community from multiple directions. Also from your B2B as well as your B2C, which I think is really good because oftentimes I have talked to Black entrepreneurs. Say for example they're selling silk bonnets, and I'm like, okay, so where are you sourcing your silk bonnets from? I'm like, oh, China, and I'm like, no. There are plenty of people who actually make these things by hand. You just got to go on Black Twitter or Instagram, and
Yes.
we're a Black-owned business, but they're operating on cost, and their only consideration is I want to get it for the cheapest. I want to get it for the cheapest. But I mean, also you're getting low quality oftentimes too when you have a lot of imported
Yes.
items, and they're not taking that into consideration of how that affects their brand. I think when you have partnerships like what you're talking about with, other small business, you also create like a sense of loyalty between each
Yes.
other. So, they're going to give you good product, then you can give your customers good product. So, yes, I love that. I love that model.
Yes.
Um, what made you decide to choose spices and seasonings in particular?
I was doing it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, like I was saying earlier, our allergy. So I have a shellfish allergy. We have gluten free. We have dyes. We have, so to go
Mhm.
to the store and have to read the back of a container, and I'm like, okay,
Mhm.
what's this word? What does this mean?
Mhm.
What is this? And then when I was looking things up, such as MSG, it has no nutritional value. So
Mhm.
why is it in this, product?
Mhm. Mhm.
And I was finding that out about a lot of different additives, and I'm like, okay, so why is it in here if it
Mhm.
has no nutritional value?
Mhm. Mhm.
And so to make sure I was keeping the nutritional value as well as making it safe for all of my family to eat, I
Mhm.
was getting the different spices and making the seasonings myself.
Right. Okay. Okay.
So that my family was like, you should, turn it into a business. You should do this. Like, it's really, really good.
Mhm.
I'm like, nah, I just do this for you guys. No. And I finally listened,
Mhm. Mhm.
finally. And it like jumped off. Everyone was surprised at, the low sodium, the freshness. They were really surprised at the flavors because I don't have any enhancers.
Mhm.
And they're like, you just did this just from mixing the herbs. And I'm like, yeah.
Mhm.
So,
That's wonderful. Yeah, I mean, there's so many additives and typical spices. I mean, there's stabilizers, there's coloring, but it's because, the knowledge of, different herbs and spices has been lost over time. If they don't go get a Mrs. Dash or, not Mrs. Dash, what's the one with the MSG? Accent. Accent is the one
oh
that's,
my God.
if they don't go get that or some Maggie, they don't know what they're doing. My
We
family
we went
Maggie's and
what
everything.
we I grew up on accent and
Mhm.
everything, not knowing what it was. You just
Mhm.
use it because your family was using it,
Right.
and you put it in every dish.
Mhm. Mhm.
And now that I'm older and I know what it is, I'm like, we were really using this. Like, oh my God.
And it has a specific taste too, which
Yes.
I don't like it. It has a weird kind of taste to it. You can tell when your food has MSG in it. But
Yes.
I think that that's beautiful, and the fact that it grew out of your own need to protect your own health. I think it gives you an extra sense of dedication to the business. Usually most successful businesses, that's how it happens. It's because the person that's actually building a business cares. A lot of times when people are just looking for money grabs, I'm going to do this so I can make a few bucks. Those businesses don't last at all. In terms of your customer base, are you distributing nationwide or are you still just operating locally?
Nationwide.
Wonderful.
So I'm nationwide, and I'm also military that are
Mm-hmm.
overseas. I
Okay.
service them as well. I haven't started international,
Mm-hmm.
but I will ship it to the military
Mm-hmm.
officials.
That's wonderful. And what is the shelf life of most of your blends?
2 years.
2 years. Oh
two
wow,
years.
that's a long time.
I tested it out
Mm-hmm.
because I have to test it out in order to before I say
Mm-hmm.
sell it. I have one that's been going 3 years, almost 3 years, and
Mm-hmm.
it tastes the same. Um, Everything is still fresh.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. I know for one thing I'm really big into is thermogenic spices, so spices that help with your metabolism. So things like cayenne, turmeric, ginger, pretty much anything that's hot, spicy will rev up your metabolism. Have you seen people reaching out to you for particular spices for certain trends in particular? Like, is anything like jumping out at you? Like, a lot of people are asking me for these type of spices for these reasons.
I have it's not more of a health thing. It's
Mm-hmm.
more of a I guess a challenge thing. So I have people that ask me for like my spicy. I have a spicy seasoning.
Mm-hmm.
It's just spices, and they will use that for YouTube challenges.
Okay.
So they're like, hey, can you do you have this? And I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, you sure? I was like, for me, it's too high. If I want to add spice to something, then I'll do
Mhm.
like a teaspoon of that, and that's it for me.
Okay. Mhm.
But they're like, I guess, cooking the food in it.
Mhm.
And I'm like, okay, you know, whatever makes you happy.
Mhm.
I have a couple people that have asked me for the Scotch bonnet peppers to go into the Jamaican dishes, which I use.
Mhm.
The only thing is kind of it's hard at time during seasons to find them.
Mhm.
Um, but that's I think the most requested ingredient that I've had as
Mhm.
far as the spices is that one.
Okay. So, in terms of like expanding your customer reach, like what's on the horizon for you? Like, what would you like to see going forward as an entrepreneur?
I would like to do pop-up shops in other states.
Mm-hmm.
My goal is to create a Season by Mia mobile shop.
Okay.
So we're able to go state to state and have the shop filled and sell. I want to start in the southeast region to see how
Mm-hmm.
far it goes.
What has been some of your biggest lessons learned, and what have been some of your biggest challenges?
I would say to slow down. That's my biggest challenge. My challenge is to focus on what I have
Mm-hmm.
and not create more.
Right, 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 right. Ooh.
Because I want to get into like when I added the hot sauce, and I we're big on teaching entrepreneurship in our family.
Mm-hmm.
So I have my niece who has a salsa within my company, and my nephew who has a his chips within
Mm-hmm.
my company. So they're learning basically the benefit of creating something
Mm-hmm.
and monetizing off of it. So we're that was done for them, and I got some other things that I want to do, and I'm just like, slow down. So like,
Mm-hmm.
do this.
That's always a
So,
challenge. Mm-hmm.
so that is my biggest challenge is like,
Mm-hmm.
slow down. It's gonna come. Like
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna need help. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah.
So you have, we call it SKUs. Like I'm sure you know that term. So you have all these different varieties of spices, and you have all these different sizes. How are you managing having that many different SKUs?
Organization.
Yeah.
That's so everything because I have my website. All of my orders are through my website.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I that's my main thing with people. I'm like, hey, you have to order through the website because if you, I will take DM orders. I prefer
Mm-hmm.
not to because I don't want to forget about that order
Uh-huh.
and then it's been sitting there.
Mm-hmm.
Which I never do, thank goodness. But I try to keep everything coming through one source
Mm-hmm.
so I don't, you know, miss miss that information or
Right.
miss that order.
Mm-hmm.
And um I keep basically a calendar.
Mm-hmm.
So when my orders come in, they go to a calendar like, hey, you have I have a range. My processing range is from 2 to 7 business days.
Okay.
I rarely reach the 7. I try to stay away. To me, that's too high to be holding on to an order.
Mm-hmm.
But I do that just in case I'm bombarded because it is just me. I create everything, the labels, the filling, the seasonings, filling, everything.
Wow.
So my goal is to stay between the 2 to 7 business days.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I keep my shelves stocked.
Okay.
So that way when I have orders come, I can just bag them and ship them off
Mm-hmm.
instead of having to have the customer wait, create, then ship. I
Mm-hmm.
keep it stocked. The only ones that I really don't keep stocked are my gallons and half gallon.
Mm-hmm.
That way I can keep rotating product.
Okay, okay. So you have a physical location, or are you talking about your shelves in your warehouse?
My shelves at home, like right now I'm home based.
Okay, okay.
But it was
Right.
a blessing because like if anything failed and we didn't have the proper funding, then I
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't be stuck within a lease.
Exactly, exactly, exactly. Yeah. And it gives you a good opportunity too to like invest in like your digital space, which is always nice.
Yes.
If there's any one advice that you'd want to give to budding entrepreneurs, what would it be?
Love what you do. I
Mm-hmm.
always tell people you have to love what you do because it's not always easy.
Mm-hmm.
Times are going to be hard, they're going to be challenging. You're going to want to give up sometimes, but when you love what you do, it's going to keep you going. When, like, for example, like when the coronavirus hit, we all took hits. We all took, major hits from different directions, whether it was money or supplies or whatever we needed. But because I have the love for what I do, I definitely try to find different avenues to get what I need to keep producing.
Mm-hmm.
Just
Wonderful.
keep promoting, and keep promoting yourself. Even if you think nobody's looking, nobody's sharing, nobody's liking, keep promoting yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Never stop.
Well, it's been a pleasure, and I enjoyed talking to you. I wish you much continued success. It was a pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too. Bye bye.